Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation, along with.
CJ Lou from the Fired Up with CJ show.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
If you've ever wanted guidance in your life, then do we have the How to Listen to Spirit show for you. Today, we'll talk about watching for flow, listening to the universe, and letting go to what you think you need and even your want to hear the or something better. That plus, we'll talk about flying through Zion, spinning over Lake Powell, dancing on cliffs, smoke, smoke, and more smoke, driggs and more driggs, anniversaries and the Grand Canyon, getting ahead
Uh,
of the curve, dropping itineraries, and what in the world losing power before interviews has to do with anything. So, welcome back to the show, CJ. Are you ready to
I
shine?
am ready, Shine. I'm so excited. So, Michael, where are you? You're in Zion right now?
We are in Zion. We showed up here yesterday. This was completely unplanned, unexpected. RV kind of turned at the last minute. Actually, a couple of days ago, we were in Driggs, Idaho, and there's certainly an interesting story there. Um, but we were dancing on the edge of cliffs earlier today on a trail called Angel's Landing, which
Oh,
has
I've done that
thousands.
hike.
You've done that with the kid with the chain,
Yes,
so
with
you
the
know it's a
kids,
thousand.
where it's like you're like the last part of it you have to do with chains because it's like this kind of incline and you're going on kind of perilous hikes. Yes.
Yes, so you know it, which is interesting to do in this COVID time, seeing
Mm.
as everybody is hands-on in the chains.
Oh gosh.
So who knows? But Jessica had a massive allergic reaction up there,
Oh
and
no.
and she's doing some tapping in the other room, and we think it's a fear having to do with my near-death experience, a fear of losing me. And
Oh.
so after this interview, I get to go see what kind of clearing work she needs. It's interesting because one of our, I'm going to call him heroes at this point, all-time heroes is Dr. Bradley Nelson, the creator of the emotion code.
Mm-hmm.
And a few days back, we were socked in smoke. It's been the smoke tour, and Jessica's just fallen apart. We thought we'd go to the north and there'd be less
Oh
smoke,
no.
and we were just smoked in, smoked in. Jessica's sick, Jessica's sick, Jessica's sick, and we got a Thursday. We got an email from Dr. Bradley Nelson saying, if you ever make it down to St. George on this tour, come see me and I'll take you in my private plane over the Grand Canyon.
Hmm.
And less than 24 hours later, we were down there from Driggs, Idaho, snow country to St. George palm trees. And we had our 10-year anniversary 2 days ago.
Wow,
And I had talked
congratulations.
about us renewing our vows in the Grand Canyon. Instead, he flew us over the Grand Canyon. He flew us through the gorges in Zion, where you could like feel like you could reach out with your hand at 150 miles an hour and touch the cliffs. It was unbelievable.
Wow.
Flew us 500 feet of Lake Powell to where it seemed like we could pull a water skier behind the airplane, and just miracle after miracle of meeting up with him, of completely letting go and saying, Spirit is going to guide us. We don't know where to go from here. Because I thought about calling this show Breakdown to Breakthrough. We had breakdown, not of the RV, but breakdown after breakdown of going on RV tour is one thing. Going on RV tour and having to move out of our home in 2.5 weeks, and we're never going back. Um, at the same time was a strenuous event beyond anything I've ever experienced, and I've been through a lot.
Hmm.
And then we first get out, and we only get as far as 100 miles away, where we have to put our three cars into storage. And we spent the next day, we slept in a Walmart parking lot in the RV. That's acceptable. The next day, we're still working on storage before we finally get out on the road. We're exhausted, we're flambéed, and we drove right into smoke.
Ah. In
And
Colorado, where were you at this point?
so the smoke started back in Rifle, Colorado, where our cars are.
Mhm.
We then drove to Flaming Gorge, Utah. Gorgeous. Smoke kicked up there. We drove up to West Yellowstone, started to recover. Smoke chased us down there. Went into Bozeman, Montana. At this point, I haven't gotten 5 hours of sleep, and who knows when at this point. And we get to Bozeman, and we go to sleep in a Walmart parking lot again because we couldn't find any place else. They're doing road construction in the parking lot, jackhammers, asphalt cutters.
Gosh.
I got my greatest night's sleep ever. I was so exhausted. Freight trains, everything. I'm like, I don't care. The next day we went to Livingston, um, Montana. Smoke chased us down
Oh,
there.
wow,
We
Michael.
back to oh, we had a night that we stopped after Rifle, Flaming Gorge, then we stopped in Driggs, Idaho,
Mm.
where we had thought maybe that's where we want to move. We
Oh,
couldn't even see it's on the backside of the Tetons. You couldn't see the Tetons and they were 10 miles away, maybe 5 miles away.
wow.
But when we are so while the smoke is chasing us down, interesting things are happening. Um, we are in Bozeman, Montana, and I had to get our Verizon set up for connectivity. And I ended up, of course, with a trainee walking us through stuff, and it takes several hours. Bless his heart, he was a sweetheart.
No.
We get out of there. We had new cycling shoes for Jessica so we could ride, but it meant she had left the old cycling shoes behind with the cleats on them.
Oh,
So we
no.
had no cleats for the new shoes, and I'm like, all right, this happened for a reason. We'll go into the REI. She said, do you want to go to a bike shop, which is farther away? Do you want to go to an REI, which is closer? I'm like, we're going to go into the REI and we're going to get new cleats, and we're going to get sage advice. We go into the REI as a 20-year-old kid there, really, really cool, wise, well over his years. He gives us new cleats, and I said, we're trying to figure out where we're going to move from here. Where do where do we go?
You mean where you're going to physically move, or
Yeah,
like where you're going to go next with the RV?
well, both. We have no idea. We have 5 more weeks in the RV, and then we need to move someplace or buy a new RV because there's a rental RV, and we have no idea where we're going, CJ.
Okay, what
None.
did the REI guy say?
Zero. He said there's some cool towns outside of Bozeman. Bozeman is perhaps the fastest growing city in the country.
Bozeman's a
It's
cool town.
unrecognizable. It You'd be surprised what it is now. I'm not picking on it for anybody living in Bozeman. It's not the college hip town that it was just a few years ago.
Really? What is it
It
like?
is construction, like it's Las Vegas construction on a scale I've never ever seen
Las
before.
Vegas construction, meaning like tall buildings, or because Bozeman is
Thousands of
really
neighborhoods, new neighborhoods everywhere, neighborhood after neighborhood with 1,000 new buildings and 1,000 new buildings and other homes and 1,000 new homes, completely unrecognizable to what we've seen before.
like Arizona development or something.
10x.
Really?
And
Wow, that's shocking. Because
and so we
Bozeman was like everyone rides their bike there and then has like, probiotic drink and like hanging out on the grass. Like that was the whole vibe there. No longer.
paved paradise, put in a parking lot.
Wow.
It was
Oh, I'm shocked.
crazy. So, and no deference to anybody living in Bozeman. There is somewhat of a vibe still there, but we spoke with a bunch of locals who the best term that they could use was freaked out by the amount of
Mm.
construction going on. So we asked this REI representative, where do we move? And he goes, well, you might try Livingston outside of Bozeman. It's still got kind of a Bozeman feel to it. And he goes, but if I was to go anywhere in the world, I'd move to Driggs, Idaho.
Wait, that's the place that you had just come from, right?
Yeah. And we're like, wow, all right. So we drove to Livingston for the evening, and it was kind of cool. We drove in and we drive to this RV park, and it feels off. It feels wrong. Something about it feels very, very bad. And we pull in and we have to wait. And I go inside to speak to management once they allow me in, one person at a time with COVID. And they said, do you have any animals? And I said, just indoor animals, but we do have, a rooster with us. And they and they're like, a rooster. I'm like, yeah, but we only put him outside for a few minutes just on
Right.
the grass with us. And they're like, he won't be allowed on the grass. He won't be allowed to put his feet on the earth.
Mm.
And I'm like, that's interesting. Can I carry him around? No, you can't. I'm like, okay. So they're like, he'll have to stay in the RV and not come outside at all.
Oh. Woo
Feel
woo.
into it. And we get to continue. We get to move on.
Wow.
And so I said, are there any other RV places around? And she said, no, just back in Bozeman. I'm like, that's it. Well, we'll have to go. And I'm like, well, we're just going to head back towards Yellowstone. We spent a day and a half in Yellowstone. The smoke chased us down. We'll have to head back that way. We start driving that way. Jessica finds a place still technically in town,
Oh.
even though it's 20 miles away. We call them and I say, I have a rooster. And the woman on the end of the phone goes, I grew up with a pet chicken. You have to bring your rooster in.
What are the odds?
Everybody came to the RV park in there, came to visit Ruru.
Oh my
It was
gosh.
pure magic going on feeling. Then we went back to Driggs. It was funny. Jessica had us go down a washboard road at night, having no idea that it was washboard, to go check out this view, and we were going to park by this view. It turns out there was a bridge out, and we had to park where the bridge was out. We couldn't even back up the RV in the dark. But in the morning, it was spectacular there. We could see the Tetons. We could see Driggs. We drove to Driggs, fell in love with the town. 50-50 will end up moving there
Wow.
because we followed that intuition. That's when we then got that email from Dr. Bradley Nelson, took it as a sign and said, we're going down there, and had the most magnificent anniversary instead of hiking in the Grand Canyon, flying over the Grand Canyon
Wow.
for our anniversary. 10-year anniversary, too.
Woohoo. Okay, how many days have you been traveling then?
That's a fluid term. We picked up the RV, I can't believe it, 2 weeks ago. It
Yeah.
took us 4 or 5 days of frantic parking in the driveway to get out, then another day or two at the uh, storage unit to get out. This is our whole lives had to be packed up. This was completely unplanned. This was universe at her finest. And then we've been traveling for, I guess, 8 days or so. We're just starting to get a rhythm. We're just starting to understand the pace. Yesterday was the day we, what I call, got ahead of the curve. Behind the curve, chasing our tails, meant we went to bed late each evening, we got up late in the morning, and we're behind in trying to get to a new place, figure out what to do, where do we go, and anything. This morning we were up at 5 something. We were the first one in the national park in this parking area. We got to hike really early, although that Angel Lane, and we rode our e-bikes to the trailhead, which was really cool. Did Angel Landing, which was so much more than we expected. And then we're sprinting back to make sure the animals are still cool in the RV. Don't worry, everybody. The RV was like 69 degrees
Okay,
when
good.
we got back. But we got ahead of this curve now, and now we get to stay ahead, which is you move or do your exercise first thing in the morning, and then you're parked for the rest of the day. So none of the quote work we wanted to get done got done. We held our classes, we did our coaching, but
Wow.
any of our marketing or whatever, none of it got done. Everything that we have wanted to do has gone by the wayside, and we've just had to let it go.
Mm. So do you have your um, coaching clients and you continue to do radio shows every day?
So we continue to do our coaching.
Mm-hmm.
We combined our coaching to have coaching 2 days a week. So we fit that in. We have YouTube live events. We're back to getting those in. We have our automatic writing class. We had one on Thursday. We have one coming this upcoming Thursday. Then we don't have any for a while, but we got that this last one in. Dr. Bradley Nelson helped me set up a cell phone booster, which is definitely helping. Not perfect, but definitely helping. Just the man is pure angel magic. Angel, angel, angel. Oh my God, angel. Um, but all of the day-to-day work for the business has come to a grinding halt. All of the things that we wanted to do to make this transformation come to a grinding halt. Our YouTube, we got out our first, what do you call it when you have a TV show? We got out our pilot episode of the new Michael and Jessica show on our
Yay.
youtube.com/Inspire Nation show channel. Patreon, we've been posting on there, and we're doing more. That's our behind the scenes stuff. That's Patreon, patreon.com/Inspire Nation. But the basic day-to-day stuff we haven't been able to get done, and we have had to let go to a level that's been really uncomfortable, but I think is going to help everything. We renewed our vows. We did a really cool vow ceremony on Saturday, where we not only renewed our vows for the next 10 years or maybe for the rest of our lifetime, but we talked about what we would like to see the other person try to do.
Hmm.
And it was really, really cool. And a lot of it came down to letting go at such a deeper soul level and listening.
Hmm.
And I feel this is so healing for the relationship
Hmm.
because that is what we're being forced to do. We didn't plan on going to Zion. We were headed to Grand Canyon after we left St. George. And we're driving to the Grand Canyon and driving to the Grand Canyon. And Zion is full. You can't get in. There are no spaces. There's no this. There's no that. And I'm like, well, it's only 45 minutes away. Should we give it a try even though they say they're full? And Jessica's like, yeah. And so I'm driving in now. I'm very security paranoid oriented.
Hmm.
I want everything stable and controlled.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
And
How is
coming
it
in,
crazy driving one of those? How hard is it to drive?
we did the first few days, we did more mountain passes and twists and turns than I've ever done in my life. We had a 100-mile drive through Flaming Gorge, Utah. That was twist after twist after twist in a 35-foot bus. Unbelievable. But I handled it like it was a dream. I'm so honestly proud of myself. Like day 4 or 5, where we ended up, so going down to Dr. Bradley Nelson's, we ended up on Friday, 3 hours of Friday rush hour traffic in Salt Lake City on I-15, and cars zipping in and out. The RV is 10 feet wide. The lane is 12 feet wide,
Oh
which
my
means you have a
gosh.
foot buffer. That's it. On
Wow.
either side, doing anywhere from 70 down to 0, depending on how people are hitting their brakes.
Oh my gosh.
And so it's been an
Why is
adventure.
there even a traffic hour? Why are people on the road? Like in Seattle, even during the busiest traffic hour, there's hardly anyone there.
There's very little mask use here. It is in many ways business as usual.
In Utah?
So in Utah, in Montana, especially in Utah, in Idaho somewhat, and I believe it's going to be that way in Arizona as well. So
Wow.
I don't know what's what. I don't know. I've given up on the knowing. I know what I like to do, but it was full on rush hour traffic.
Wow.
And
So it's life as usual in most of and some of the places. It's like it's as if COVID didn't happen. People are just
yeah,
living as usual.
yeah.
Isn't that fascinating? I think it's really you have a very unique perspective because you can see the different people and how they're reacting and how serious they are and what kind of stuff they do and like yeah, that's really interesting. So different than here in
And no
Seattle.
judgment. I can't pretend that I have the answers at all. We
Yeah.
do the best based on our rule set and be flexible. And that's all you can do.
Right. Wow. Okay, so
So
so you've been
we turn
driving, yeah, go ahead.
so we turn into from St. George. We say we're going to try going to Zion,
Yeah.
and my nervous system is on a heightened alert of a there may not be a place to park. They may ask us to turn around. What are we going to do? 35-foot RV driving out of the way. I only have I thought this would be the exercise trip. And instead, we weren't able to get out anywhere at any point because we were driving so much and chasing our tails, trying to avoid the smoke. And I had to do what I'm having to do on this trip a lot, which is awesome and painful, which is really breathe into whatever fear comes up.
Mm.
I'm like, it's going to be all right. Chances are very good you're going to find a space. In fact, if you're confident you're finding a space, that's going to help. Do not worry. It's worry comes from being attached to being at Zion. Maybe you're going to Zion to detour to the Grand Canyon. Who knows? Let go. And I breathe in, and we finally, not finally, but there's a lot of traffic, and we get to Zion, and we have the line at the toll booth to go into the national park. And I go to the national park woman, and I pull out my pass, and she doesn't actually want my pass. She's looking, and I bought my pass at Yellowstone. We were smoked out in Yellowstone. The guy said, "Oh, this isn't bad. You can see a couple hundred yards." He goes, "The last 20 days, you haven't been able to see that far." I'm like, "Oh my God." Um, but we got our pass there, so we're here at Zion. I try to show her the pass. She doesn't want to see it. She's like, "Just tell me you're not going through the tunnel because we have a 12-foot RV. It's an
Right.
11-foot tunnel." I'm like, "We're not." "Tell me you're not going through the tunnel." "We're not." "Tell me you're not going through the tunnel." "I'm not." And finally, I'm like, "I have just one question for you. Is there going to be any place that I can park, or do I need to U-turn right now?" And she said, "We completely filled a couple hours ago. You can try the oversized parking, but it's full too, and you're going to have to turn around." I said, "But I can try." She said, "Yes." And we found a space.
I'm so shocked at how crowded it is. Like, I guess if COVID isn't happening,
It's
then
a zoo.
like,
Now, a lot of people here, you can tell who's what. A lot of people here are in masks. The out-of-staters are in masks. The local ones are not in masks. Um, if there's a good stiff breeze and I'm outside, I'm okay at this point, not mask. I don't, like I said, I don't pretend to know the answers. I have no way of knowing anything. Um, but it
where are
was
people
interesting.
from? Who are, when you go out and talk to people in your community, where are people from?
We found Colorado, we found California, we found China, we found Philippines, we found
Wow.
more in Colorado, we found Washington, we found Arkansas, all
Wow.
over,
Wow.
all
And are they there with family? Are they working from like remote working or what's their scenario?
Um, the most that I found was actually couples. There's a lot of families,
Yeah.
but I found lots and lots of couples here, which was very interesting. So, but I mean, this place, it completely fills up by, I don't know, 10 or 11 o'clock, every parking space in Zion, every parking space in Grand Canyon right now. Now, it's Columbus Day, we're recording this.
Right.
So it could be that people have off from work. Um, and I think more people are mobile than ever. More people can work remotely. So, like RV sales, from what we understand, are through the roof. Bozeman home prices have doubled this year
Wow.
uh, because the expression that I'm using is rural is the new city.
Hmm.
Everybody's moving out of the cities because they learned that they can telecommute and going to the small towns.
Mm,
And so small towns are completely changing and people are out and about everywhere.
mm. So interesting. Okay, so I'm curious, like what are your main takeaways are go with the flow. And you've gotten a sense of where you would like to live, which was one big thing. What and you were able to
Well,
renew your vows. Like what's like your what's kind of breaking through? Because you said breakdown to breakthrough. What breakthroughs do you feel like you've had, or are
and
those all of them? Yeah.
we're still heading to Sedona. Jessica's in love with Sedona, so she wants to see about moving to Sedona as another option, or at least for her it's grounding. For me, historically, it's spinning. But we'll see you this time. I'm a different person. It could be I go, oh my God, I am so in love with this place. Who knows? It has been patience
Mm,
and care and compassion. and watch my energy around Jessica. And when the power goes out and I'm like, check this, check that, I get to do even better there of not going to a, we've got to check the, I go into, I don't know, mild drill sergeant mode. Um, just more, I'm guessing you can understand if, the power is out, that this is that the AC is not working. It's 88 in the RV. The animals are there's such a level of letting go, understanding the only thing that matters is us.
Right.
The only thing that matters is Jessica, the animals, and myself. And everything else will take care of itself if I remember the only thing that matters is Jessica, the animals, and myself. Nothing else matters. And remember, the best description I've been giving this from breakdown to breakdown to breakthrough is it's all a spiritual setup. Why did the power go out right before speaking with you? It's a setup. Why did the internet then just go down before speaking with you? It's a setup. Why did Jessica, was she, I hope she's okay with me sharing, crying in the other room right before this,
Mm.
as her immune system is completely broken down and she's tapping and she finds out what's the cause of what's going on today. So that's a breakthrough. Why did that happen now? It's a setup. All of this is a setup to help us.
Mm.
And if I can realize that rather than be attached to any of it, completely different world.
Mm. So you're learning to go with the flow. Yeah, just
To
kind of.
an extreme, but more than go with the flow is listen for the subtleties, the nuances, the loud voices, the signs and the symbols that are guiding us. That before I was too much, not picking on me, we all are this way. I need to do X, Y, and Z. Well, if you say I need to do X, Y, and Z, you don't hear that there's something even better waiting for you.
Mm. Right. So it's you know that book, The Alchemist. I
Of
kept it for
course.
whatever reason when you're talking before even our phone call. I'm like, Michael is like the alchemist. And I'm not sure why, but I kept on thinking that. But it is kind of like the alchemist, right? Where you're enjoying the journey as much as you can enjoy the journey. I mean, you've had some phenomenal experiences and you've had some like not so phenomenal experiences, and they're all good for you in some ways that you don't even understand. Because even knowing, like, okay, I may move out of Colorado hoping to escape the smoke, but you're not going to escape the smoke. It's if you want to be near a mountain, you're going to have to deal with smoke because of whatever kind of environmental change, if you believe it or not, something is happening.
Yeah.
And wow, what adventure. Do you feel like, aside from being patient and kind of getting like refined skill on how to go with the flow, I mean, what else is emerging for you? How are you transforming?
A level of patience and sweetness of really diving into the fact that it is a setup, meaning it's all here to support and guide me.
Mm.
And so if I can chuckle at the fact, oh, there goes the power, there goes the internet, there goes the itinerary, there goes smoke or the this or the that, and just let it all go into the sweetness that God, source, universe, giant cheeseburger, whatever you want to call it, is guiding us,
Mm.
then this becomes that alchemist magical journey
Mm.
that's far greater than we ever could have planned,
Mm-hmm.
far more different. We're supposed to go to the East Coast in 2 weeks. Um, and visit our families. There's at least a 50-50 chance, if not a 90-10 chance, we're not doing it because we are so exhausted that the idea of driving an RV 4 days straight each direction, this is no small machine to drive. To race back there, see family, and race back, having nowhere to return to.
Right.
We have no home. We have the money for a home. We don't know where it's supposed to be. We don't know what it's supposed to look like. And so we could, if we drive to the East Coast and back, we're going to arrive back in Colorado. It's a 200-mile drive between where we drop off the RV and the cars. How do we get one to the other? And then we're supposed to do what? What do we move into? Where do we go?
Right.
What do
Mm.
we do? No idea. Magic will happen, but it feels like, so if there's one other theme, it's the theme of too much. We donated a quarter of our items before going on tour. We get to donate
Wow.
even more. We are trimming back and trimming back and trimming back still because too much is weighing us down. Trying right now, my theme on this RV tour is we get down to one third. We maybe it's one third of possessions, it's doing one third of the things we want to do, it's visiting one third of the places, and then it's staying three times as long
Mm.
so that we ground in rather than chase our tails.
Yep. That makes sense to me. Wow. Wow, so interesting. I'm just thinking back. So you're on your journey is paralleling my Camino dates almost exactly, like very close to the Camino dates.
Yeah.
Probably 2 days from now I will have finished the Camino, but like at the
Wow.
same kind of, looking at the signs and letting go of everything that you think that you know because you don't really know anything. Finally recognizing that you don't know anything
Mm-mm.
and letting life guide you. It's so hard to do, but it's
That
magic.
it is. And the real magic is not really, it's not necessarily easy. I mean, climbing up Angel Landing when we had no intention of doing that, that wasn't easy. Was it worth
That's
it?
not
Heck
that's not
yeah.
a that's not an easy hike. Like I don't think we were prepared for it either. They're like, "Hey, there's a steep part at the end." I'm like, "Okay." But it is like a grueling hike and we had done it during a day that was 90 degrees and 105 on the way back. So I don't know
Wow.
how hot is it there now?
Mid to upper 80s, so nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing
Well,
compared
relative
to
to
this.
that, yeah.
Although we were in our winter cycling gear because it was in the 40s when we started riding this morning, and then we hiked and we didn't plan on this epic hike, and so we didn't have a way to do anything with our clothes.
Have you done the one
But
where you wade through the water one yet? The one that you go through the big mountains of the little what is it? Oh,
Slot Canyon or something,
yeah.
yes. Just, uh,
That's
I
worth
can't.
doing for sure.
Jessica's done it. I haven't. She doesn't want to get that cold and wet with her immune system going on the fritz right now.
Okay.
The Narrows. And
The
so we probably
Narrows, yes.
won't do the Narrows this time. That's okay. We'll do probably something else tomorrow if her allergies calm down after we do the tapping, which she's been doing. If we do more motion code, we will maybe stay for another day. If not, we'll head on somewhere else. I
You
have
don't even know
no.
where you're going to go tomorrow.
It's supposed to be Sedona. We know we will get to Sedona, whether that's next or not. I have absolutely no
How many
idea.
hours are you driving in a day?
It was upwards of 8 to 10. Well,
Oh,
the
oh,
longest
Michael.
drive was about 12 hours 2 days ago. Today was only 2 or 3 hours. It was nothing. I really don't want more than a 2 or 3 hour drive coming up. I like calling this the slow boat and just really taking our time. That's how I want to do the rest of this journey. And that's how I'd like to plan it. But I'd like that to also be the Camino that continues. I would
Yeah.
like to stay on the slow boat, whether that's metaphorically, meaning move slowly, or whether that's literally we purchase an RV after this. But I would like to go at this slower pace. I feel it's so
Mm.
important to be in alignment with the universe. And now I'm going to sneeze.
D-
This will be a minute. Hold on one moment, please. No mute key on this one. All right, that's better.
Oh, what an incredible journey, Michael. I know you have to go, so I will just I'll do a quick update for me, which has been Um, I'm kind of going and doing something somewhat similar to yours, but all going on the inside. So a lot of I took the shamanic journey in class that I think I told you about beforehand. I think I was taking it then, and it's led me to like do a ton of transmission. I'm getting transmission from various, I don't
Yay.
know what, energetic divine beings. And that has been really interesting. And doing a lot of healing. So when I go up there, part of when I guess you do transmission is you have to vibrate at a very high level.
Yeah.
And you have to have an open heart. And you have to be embodied because your soul has to be there. And so when I'm going up, I'm getting a ton of healing work. And so one of the things that I went up, it said to start studying the five elements. Like that part of my mission is to help with peace and harmonizing because we're in such a place of not that right now. I mean,
Yeah.
internally, externally, globally, like we're just not in a place of peace and harmony. So I've been led to all sorts of interesting things, but one of the things that someone told me a long time ago is I said, you should tune into the spiritual practices of your ancestry, Chinese ancestry, and so I've been looking at Taoism and five element healing, and I was curious, and I got intuitively ask your friend, Noah, to go get more information. So I said, no, I know this is kind of a strange call. I haven't talked to you for a while, but what do you know about five element healing? And he said, well, actually, I know the Bon, which is that's the closest that you're going to get, I think, of shamanism in kind of Asia and Asian shamanism. And he said the preeminent teacher is this gentleman, and he wrote this book on five element healing, and then he has a workshop 2 weeks from now. I was like, wow,
Wow.
like that's pretty wild. And then part of my shamanic journey, I'm realizing that I realized I called these two women from Palo Alto who do this like thing with bioenergetic healing. I don't know if you've ever done that before,
Oh,
but they muscle test and they figure out what's happening, and someone's there as a surrogate doing a read on your body, and it seems kind of like out there to me, but I have got some really interesting information from that, including like learning how to receive and how
yeah.
all I didn't recognize this myself, but my whole left side of my body has been having issues. Like I'm having weird stuff happening where like my near my forehead and eye, my left side, my heart on my left side hurts. My kind of ovary areas hurt. My left ankle hurts, and I didn't recognize that it was on the left side until they were like, "Well, that's kind of weird." And I was like, "It is kind of weird." And they said, "Well, this is your feminine side, and it's about perhaps rejecting aspects of your feminine side." And as I've been doing the shamanic journey, what's been clear to me is learning softness and receiving, slowing down. Everything that you are kind of learning in yourself is part of what I'm exploring. And I have to say that when I can go to that yin yoga, kind of just like drop in, relax, there's nothing to do, just soften into whatever is happening at this moment, it makes life so much better. It makes life so much better. And so this morning I've been looking, I wanted to get my, I wanted to do more visceral massage because it still hurts in my ovary area. And so I couldn't get the person I normally go to. And she's having some troubles with her boyfriend who has cancer. So I don't want to overtax her. So I thought, I think I'm supposed to go to the same place and find another person. And when I did, there was this thing called Shin Seng kind of massage. And I thought, what is this? And then I looked, and it's like a Chi something Sen Seng. I can't pronounce it. But it's a Taoist massage that works with the five elements. I thought,
Wow.
wow. So like everything is kind of leading me this way. And so I talked to the massage therapist. I tell her about this, and she said, "Well, you should talk to this person nearby, who's a local person nearby that teaches this class on the 5 elements in healing." And I was like, "That's so weird because the message I got when I was channeling is I should learn about 5 elements in healing." I then looked into the web to see what was around in Seattle. Bastyr is like the preeminent place to get that kind of training. And I looked in the prerequisites. It's like I have to go get a chemistry, physics, like all these like prerequisites. Some of which I have from my undergrad, but some of which I don't. And even if I do have it from my undergrad, it's like 30 years old. So I don't know if they would even take it. And I thought, oh, I don't think I can do this, man. I can't do this. Like, I want to learn about the 5 elements, but I can't. I don't want to go back to college and take all these classes. I'm not going to do that. I'm like, I just hope something shows up. So I emailed this woman this morning and I said, I saw that you do this 5 element healing. I'm drawn to this stuff, but I don't have a massage. I'm not a massage therapist. I don't have any certification in this area. Is it permissible to go to this class and then do this healing? And I just actually, the reason why when you were calling and trying to get everything hooked up, she had called me. And I was like, I can only talk as long as until I get this phone call from my friend Michael. And so she was calling me, and because you were running late, she was able to tell me all about the class. And I said, well, I'm worried. So there is a reason, Michael. They may not
I
may
love
not have been like one that
it.
was clear, but she was saying, we find that some of the people who are actually the best healers aren't ones that have had healing, like have a whole bunch of knowledge in their heads. They just intuitively are guided where to go. And I was like, okay, I'm in, sign me up. So yeah, and one of her classes is in Sedona, of all places. So that would be kind of fun. Her to get certified in this work is like, I don't know, April 21st through 25th. So, and if you end up being in Sedona, I'll come visit you, mask on.
Very,
But
very nice.
yeah. So it's just it's kind of, I don't know if you just go into the unknown. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm open to trying anything. And like this kind of thing just emerged. I would not have arrived at 5 element healing, peace and harmony sort of, but like that wouldn't have been my focus. Going into divine and channeling, doing transmissions, would not have thought that that would be part of my work. And then offering this stuff, like when I have the transmissions, offering it online with my radio show, I would not have thought about that at all. And so one of my new ideas that I'm going to bounce around, I still have to be congruent with it so that I'm transmitting good stuff, is looking at the daily news and offering like a spiritual perspective on the daily news, because I just think I'm actually
Very
tormented
cool.
when I watch the news. So if it would help me minimally and hopefully more. So that's one of the things I'm going to be doing.
I love it. Well,
Yeah.
it's really it's all in the last couple of things I have, and then I've got a boogie or we don't get to get food tonight,
Oh my gosh. Okay.
and I
Yes.
want food.
Yes.
Um, it's really just like us. It appears on the surface we're taking an outer journey. We're not.
Yeah.
There is no outer journey. You can roll wherever you are. It's all on the inside.
Absolutely.
Everything on the inside. A last note, we'll talk about it next time because I'm excited to see how it turns out. At the last moment, our book editor just quit.
Oh
She
my God.
was overwhelmed and quit a week
Oh
before book
no.
deadline. Not her
Oh my
fault
God.
at all. Something magical will come of it. So there's a part of me that wants to go, and I'm not letting myself go on to regret or disappointment on this trip. I'm just breathing into everything and going, wow, there's a magical reason for even this too. And I'm guessing the next time we will speak, I meet with my publisher tomorrow, something magical will have come out of it, even though I don't have a clue now, but I've just got to breathe into it. Breathe into all of it.
Wow. I actually know of a couple. Joe Dispenza's editor for his book, and Miguel Ruiz. For some reason, I don't know who his editor is, but I feel like I may know them. So if it happens, so be it. But I'm sure you can track them down. But I know that they have really good editors that they like. So
Cool. I may well talk with you offline about it. We
yeah,
will more We will
Wow.
know more tomorrow. And I'm like, wow, the best way I can say it this way is,
Okay.
isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
All right. Something great will come out of
You
even
don't
that.
know. Like it could just be a delay in publishing date, and the way that when it does come out will be the perfect exact timing of when it should come out. You just never know.
Yeah. Can't
Oh
force
wow.
that stone uphill. All right, CJ,
Go get
lots.
dinner. Yes.
I don't know if it has anything to do with the five elements, but my obsidian stone that I usually use for grounding has been packed away someplace special. And so twice we went into West Yellowstone. We ended up looping around through Montana, and each time I picked up a package of hematite magnetic stones. And so
Nice.
I've been holding stones. You're talking about the five elements, and I've been holding magnetic stones as we
Nice.
speak.
Woo!
So, all right. So for everyone out there, this is Michael Sandler and
CJ Lou from the Fired Up with CJ show.
say, be well, have fun. Wow, wow, wow. What a crazy time. Breathe into it. Understand it's a cosmic setup for your highest good, for the highest good of all. And listen, take the slow boat and listen. And above and beyond all else, shine bright.
Woo!
It means so much to me that you're listening to the show and would love your support in any way by giving me comments below or to subscribe to the show or share the show with friends. Thank you again for your support. Love and blessings.